right. Hey, friends. Hello, everybody. Happy day, happy day. We're just going to get connected here. Hello, everyone. Check in. Make sure our connections are good because we are saying hello across many platforms, across my multiple platforms. So today is Thursday, July 3rd. I'm very happy to see you. And what else? I guess that's it. Yeah, I think we're live. That's great. Okay. So for my Instagram friends, hello everyone. It is we're back to doing these lives, and I am just gonna click hello. Great. So welcome everybody. I have a big smile on my face because I have been waiting to do this. I mean, I was doing it a little bit in May, took a break in June, and I'm like, I think I need to bring these back. All right, everyone, how are y'all doing? I'm just gonna watch you here, and I'm going to check on our Instagram family on this other screen to see any chats or any arrivals. But welcome, welcome. I wanted to get back to the rhythm of how we used to meet before the Eritrean Diaspora Innovators Summit, which we held in May, on May 9 and 10 of this year. And the lead up to EDIS, Eritrean Diaspora Innovator Summit, the lead up to EDIS was really exciting and chaotic and a burst of beautiful energy. And I've had some time to be away from it. Now, I know I checked in with you immediately after it was done, and it was great. We had a live. I said it was amazing, and it was. But it's been almost 2 months since EDIS. And now's a chance for me, for you, for all of us to reconnect. And I want to ask if my Instagram folks are seeing this. If you could comment yes, then I'll know that it's all good. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Welcome to the family on Facebook. Welcome to the family on Instagram. Welcome to the friends who are watching this on YouTube. This will be available for you later, but I really want to connect with the ones who are live. So I am planning to sit with you for about half an hour, but I'm pretty sure it'll go longer because you guys all start to share your thoughts and questions. Instagram folks, yes, okay. So when we were doing the Eritrean Diaspora Innovators Summit preparation, this was something I've wanted to do for years and years and years and years, like way before the Diaspora Academy. EDIS was something I wanted to do 10 years ago. For those of you who know me from the Dawn Days Diaspora African Women's Network, an organization I started, I had all these ideas around a conference of sorts with diaspora African women leaders, which, the organization was really for that. But something just in my soul really wanted to get something going for my community in the Eritrean diasporas. I've always been connected to the community. I've always been involved. I've always had a relationship with the Eritrean diaspora community that I grew up in and the communities that I lived in as an adult in DC, when I moved to New York a few years ago. But I wanted to do it different. And so I needed to find the right kind of alignment with life, work, family, my ideas. And coming back to DC in 2023, launching the Diaspora Academy as my own business, a business which is really a purpose-driven work. It's just, this work doesn't sit anywhere else. It sits in bits and pieces. I find a lot of organizations that want to work on diasporas. I find a lot of communities that can relate to what they need, what they want, what they're experiencing. And oftentimes the requests are, can someone help us with this? Can someone help us with this? And that's where I come in. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to fill this gap. But when I joined, when I came back and started the Diaspora Academy, I did not know what it was going to turn into. And it continues to surprise me every day. But I launched it at the end of 23. If you guys remember, if you're with me back then, I made our announcement for the Diaspora Academy at the end of 23, to December 2023. We held our first sort of courses, diaspora leadership program, in February 2024. And that 6-week program had a cohort that just was from all over, all different walks of life, a group of people from, really Europe, Africa, and the United States were dialing in, taking this course live, and then they were logging in. And it was really, really phenomenal, February. And I knew that I wanted to offer the Diaspora Leadership Program again, but I was still thinking about, like, what do I do with the community? What do I do with my community? And shortly after, I got to work with other diaspora communities. I worked with the Sudanese diaspora community. I worked with some Belarusian diaspora communities, all through requests, just communities and organizations who work with these communities, asking how can we partner and support these diaspora communities. So in my head now, by mid 2024, this time last year, I was like, I really want to do Diaspora Leadership Program again, but I really want to do something for the Eritrean diaspora community. And it was around that time I realized I can take what I've been doing in the diaspora leadership community and make it specifically to the community that I'm a part of, that speaks to our issues, but that can also be inviting for everyone else. Like DLP, the Diaspora Leadership Program, has taught me that there are some fundamentals that we experience as people with immigrant backgrounds, as children of immigrants, and as descendants of migrants. And so I was just trying to think of this, okay? It occurred to me that the curriculum I had developed at the Diaspora Leadership Program and the conversations I had been having within my community with friends, with family members, with community elders, community leaders, there's just a lot of like ebb and flow here. There's a lot of alignment. So last year, around July, August, I was like, yeah, I should do some of the community. But the reality of the elections really set in. And the prospect of what we were potentially going to experience if we had a Trump administration was very, very clear to me. This is why I fell into the organizing, the African Diaspora for Harris work that I did. And it really took, July to November was running my business, running my life, which includes being a mother to a beautiful, beautiful child. And I am busy. And running the electoral organizing. So last year, from July to November, you saw ADH galvanize and strengthen our coalition efforts across different African diaspora communities. The results of November were so heartbreaking. And I should say, before I forget, the Diaspora Leadership Program that I did in February, this all matters. Like, I want you to hear this train of thought because I want you to understand how meaningful this all is. When I did that in February, I said, I'm going to offer it twice a year. Because February is Black History Month in the US, we are busy. Let me do it on the other Black History Month for the UK and many other countries in October. So, the Diaspora Leadership Program is a global curriculum. It is a curriculum that applies to diasporas of all backgrounds, but particularly those that are from the global South, that are brown and Black, particularly those that are in white-dominated spaces who navigate white supremacy, a reality of being a dignified, full-on person, and then as a migrant, as an immigrant, as a descendant of migrants from a particular part of the world, you now have to navigate a reality that white supremacist structure is going to try to limit your greatness. That is why we do it on February and October, okay? Because it's a reminder of our strength. And you don't have to be Black to be celebrating Black History Month as much as you have to honor and understand that there are so many moments, any point in time, for you to recall and build on your strength. So October, we did the Diaspora Leadership Program, but man, it was a tough time. And our experience at Diaspora Leadership Program was pretty tough. I'll be honest, low turnout. And why? Why? Because we were all in the streets organizing. We were all, taken by this election. Like, regardless of what you think about a person, a candidate, the reality was very stark to a lot of us of around what the prospects would look like for a Trump administration versus anyone else. Okay? Harris, a Dem, the Republican Party didn't show that it had a variety of other options. So, yeah, October was like autopilot. Organizing for the campaign, running Diaspora Leadership Program, but realizing that people did not have the bandwidth to take this course. So all this love that I wanted to give to the community, I didn't see it in the course. We struggled in the election organizing. I know as Eritreans, Ethiopians, other Africans, other diasporas, the votes were splitting. The votes were splitting between Dem, Trump, and then Jill Stein. And that told me a lot about the health and the just misinformation hitting a lot of our communities. Of course, needless to say, it goes without saying that after November 5, it was a really difficult time for me. And, I'm not even mentioning my personal life, like, because life is also happening to me. And I felt like what this will mean will have disastrous consequences for our people as non-white, honest to God, immigrant, diaspora, uh, anyone who identifies with underrepresented communities, marginalized, the poor, workers, LGBTQ, disabled. I mean, like, if you were anything that was not white, male, heterosexual, cisgender, Christian, Judeo alignment, everything else around here could potentially be at risk. And that's because we saw enough in the lead up to the election. Project 2025 was they are doing what they said they would do. And that it was a real fearful thought of mine from November until January 21, which is just so. In that period of November to end of January, I still had diaspora leadership program to do. I do it every February and every October. But I also knew that we were going to be in a lot of shock. I did not imagine how much shock we would be in because of the foreign aid freeze, the funding cuts, and the real impact it was having on people who lived in the US and around the world. I experienced a new level of grief from November until January. And then I realized, oh my goodness, if I don't offer something for our community and for all of us to find each other in, it's going to be harder the longer that administration is in office. It doesn't. The writing's on the wall. I'm not saying anything that is extreme here. Okay, we're living in a nightmare, a reality that is forcing so many people to feel so vulnerable. And I realized if I don't offer something, particularly to, first and foremost, my community, the Eritrean Diaspora community, but also the broader community, it's going to be harder later. So I started 2025 really excited about EDIS. And I was ready to go. Like, I remember in December, I started planning for it, right? So about 7 months ahead and years of thought. And January, I had a whole, a whole plan. I had volunteers, I had staff. And then when those when those foreign aid cuts started, and when the dismantling of USAID started, it hit me because, one, I work in development. I've always worked in international law, conflict resolution, humanitarian affairs, and development. And so many of my own personal and professional priorities were being attacked. I lost clients, business partnerships. I lost business, but also I lost the vision that I had for myself for the year, because one by one, people were calling and saying, "We just got our funding cut. We can't work with you. We just lost this. We have to put it on hold. We have to freeze." I want you to know that what you read in the news may feel like it's happening to someone else, but 9 times out of 10, there's someone in your immediate life who has been feeling the cuts and the impact since day one. So, if you feel like you're dodging bullets or you're avoiding the drama, I promise you, it's unfortunately a lot closer than we realize. So I had to kind of navigate and figure out how I navigate this new reality, the fact that development is under attack. And granted, you can have your own opinions around the West and aid and U.S. government, but the sector, the industry, the profession, the relationships, the people who are on the ground around the world, the jobs that people around the world had, and I'm not talking about like Americans, I'm talking about anyone in any country that was working for a nonprofit, for a civil society organization, for a foreign aid agency, for an NGO, jobs gone, livelihoods gone. And the grief that we're seeing, the outpouring of grief that we're seeing in the United States from Americans who are really, truly gutted because they've lost their work, I read it as, okay, then make that 20 times worse for Africans and Asians and Arabs and Latinos and Caribbeans who have been working to rebuild their countries in partnership with NGOs or as a part of a community organization. I was just thinking of like the sheer devastation on the ground. So it meant that February was a shock for me. It meant that EDIS was on hold. And it meant that I had to ask myself, what am I really going to be about this year? And so offering the Eritrean Diaspora Innovators Summit was a leap of faith, because even though it's something I had planted as a seed for years and years on end, the 2024 and early 2025 rollout, the impact of what happened in the last 12 months, it gutted me, but it also made it much more necessary. And made it necessary to like offer this space. Okay, so that's why doing things now for me as Semhar and as a diaspora like advocate and like forever defender means that I have to continue offering new spaces to find community, to build our strength and our collective power, to protect our stories and our narratives, to share our experiences with each other. That's why I'm doing these lives too, because I also want to find a space that many of you can meet. You may not be able to meet me on the courses that I offer. You may not be able to take time for a 2-day summit, but I want you to know that you have a need that I believe is going to be so important for how you navigate the foreseeable future. And that need is finding community in many different spaces. You have a community already. Many of you likely feel like you are a part of a community. Maybe your diaspora identity, maybe the people you grew up with, maybe your church, your mosque, maybe your school, your alumni, fine. But you also are going to find a community in the diasporic sense of people who can relate to this being in between or this hyphenated experience that I so often talk about. So for me, it means that I am going to continue to create spaces with even more urgency to help you regain and hold on to your strength and your power, and for us to find the things that make us so alive, each other, joy, love, discovery, support. And I'm very aware that there are enough spaces for you to get online and do something, but there are no spaces, none, that focus on your diaspora experience and how you turn that into positive impact from where you are. There are none. You're going to find a Facebook group about your diaspora community. You're going to find an Instagram account that gives you advice or inspiration. You're going to find a TikTok influencer that's amazing. Great. But you are not going to find a place that you can come to and that you can be seen and heard and validated and supported, because there's many different ways I'm trying to offer that for you with other people, with my team, with the Diaspora Academy. But there aren't going to be spaces that really honor your whole hyphenated self. Maybe you're not ready to understand your whole hyphenated self. Maybe you are just die hard one side, right? I get it. I mean, I was born in New York. I was born in the US, as everyone knows by now. I was born in America, and I swear to God, I was Eritrean through and through. I still am. And I just didn't see a need to say that I'm Eritrean American. I didn't. This is the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s. Okay, I'm Gen X, right? Let's just get that out of the way. I have been here for a minute. Growing up, it felt really good to say I'm Eritrean, and it still does. But there is a power that I am claiming and a power that I am holding on to in also claiming that I am hyphenated, right? It's okay. It doesn't mean I'm half or less than. It doesn't mean that you're just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, it means you're both, all right? I'm not here to argue about who is authentically this and who is authentically that, and neither should you. But the idea of being in a space that can say, this is what it means to be both, is important. There's also spaces that we call lovingly like third culture kids, people who have lived in different countries. That's beautiful. But I don't know that there are spaces that talk about how you take your unique experiences and your competencies and your skills and convert that into leadership, into social impact, social, economic, civic impact, whatever impact you're trying to make. And that validates the power of your ideas, the power of your mind. Because that's what I'm about. I'm about you discovering your best self. And I'm not talking about that in a self-help, like crazy way. I'm talking about growing up in an immigrant household means that you have been infused with and supported to understand your culture and love it and embrace it. And if you're lucky, you grew up still loving your culture and your community. You didn't throw it away, or you weren't shunned, you weren't discouraged, because there are a lot of immigrant households that tell their kids to assimilate and change their name and don't have an accent. You may have grown up in an immigrant household that told you to honor and celebrate who you are. But when you leave that house and when you leave those doors of your home and you go out into the outside world, and especially if you're brown and black, especially if you're Muslim, especially if you're not a man, the journey is so much more difficult. And I'm not here to, play victim of who's got it worse and who's doing fine. I'm talking about your own personal journey. Now, this is all what I wanted to share with you around the power of what EDIS has been and what EDIS will continue to be and what it means for you. If you're watching, you don't even have to be Eritrean to enjoy the Eritrean Diaspora Innovators Summit at all. But you should know that the Eritrean Diaspora Innovators Summit is this 2-day convening of pioneering, groundbreaking, amazing Eritrean Americans, and it's open to all Eritreans in the diaspora too. There were Eritreans from other countries as well who were speakers. It was phenomenal. It will continue, and we will have it again. It'll be in May of 2026. And what that means, and with everything I've just shared, that means that I want you to start getting ready. Not just for May 2026, but everything that happens between now and then. I want you to be a part of what we're going to be offering you. And yes, this is specifically speaking to people who are interested in Eritrean Diaspora Innovators Summit event. It's open to all. Everyone can join. We had non-Eritreans at the summit. But I am specifically telling you, you don't have to just wait for May. All right? And if you are not Eritrean and you're looking at this summit and being like, how can we get down? How can I be a part of it? I have so many ideas. First of all, I have so many things in the pipeline, and I have ideas of how you can be involved. So what I want to share with you is when we had the summit, it was a 2-day situation, and it had themes, right? So Friday was all about understanding your diaspora journey and listening and learning from leaders who have really paved their own path. That was like personal growth and development day. The next day was about mental health and your own mindset, like what you have to do to take care of your energy, to navigate some of these difficult spaces. And then the end of the summit was about what it means to collaborate and work with each other in the community and outside, in your diaspora and outside. And granted, this was really focused on second generationers, so children of immigrants, those of you that might have been born abroad or you came here as a young kid. But it is open, of course, to anyone who came to this country at any time in their life and who want to think about how they can think outside of the box and hear inspiration from other people. The feedback that I got from those 2 days, the biggest feedback I got was day 2 around mental health and wellness and community collaboration. And what the feedback kept coming back to was, I've never heard these words said to me, especially from someone from my community, and they're referring to like all the different speakers. I've never heard someone say the most difficult thing I had in my heart with such ease. And I wish I heard this when I was younger, when I was in my teenage years, 20 years old, 30 years old. There were people of all ages, all walks of life. And the other second takeaway was, now that the event had happened, and we added a really fun element to Saturday. I'm so sorry. This is the other part that was so great about the summit. So yeah, we had panels, we had keynotes. It was all that. It was live interactive thing, chats, Q's and A's. It was recorded. Like, you can still watch EDIS if you want to. You can go to edis2025.com and you can still watch the replays. It's all available for you. But we added a private roundtable, and we invited everyone who was attending the summit live to join us for a virtual roundtable. And it's not like a Zoom, but it was like a very private, not recorded conversation. And men, women, young, old, were saying, all right, what do I do with all this energy now? I'm so inspired. I feel seen. and I feel heard, and I feel like I'm not crazy. I'm not the odd one out. There's a lot of ways I could approach my life, and this just gave me so many ideas. So we had that roundtable where we talked about different things, and then this is what I'm working on now. From May, I said, hey, you know what, everyone? Based on your feedback, I'm happy to continue the conversation. And July, I can offer you something in July, right? So this is kind of a follow up to that. This is where I've been since May 9, May 10, is really preparing for how we continue life after EDIS and how we prepare for the next EDIS. All right. So this month, I'm hosting a session that is specific to what people wanted to get into at the summit, which is discovering your Mebrahti moment. You remember that the theme of EDIS was your Mebrahti moment, right? Your Mebrahti in our language in Tigrinya is means light. And we're referring to this to say discovering your light. And so I want to offer this session Saturday, July 19 at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, virtual. The link will be up. I want to invite all of you to think about this and take time for yourself. And the reason I'm saying this is because taking time is so hard to do in this day and age. But after everything, what I just shared with you about the last 12 months and what we are going through right now in the United States, what we are experiencing on a daily basis, the fear, the anxiety, the worry, the pain, the anger is real. And you cannot operate as normal, as usual. You have to take time to protect your energy and focus on what do I need to change? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to do well? What do I need to do better? And what do I need to do for myself, right? So this kind of session is an offering in that respect, right? When I come to you and I say, hey, you guys, I'm hosting something, it isn't just like a feel-good, naive, out of the blue, I don't know what's happening in this world, come on and take a session. It is specifically designed to help you find yourself and ground yourself and navigate the reality of what we're going through. Because in these sessions, it's not like a lecture, and we end up having really deep, honest conversations. I invite people to share whatever they want to share, and I'll be honest, a lot of it is related to mental health, fear, decision, anxiety over decision making, and very real private things. Like my sessions are always we really honor a code of conduct in the Diaspora Academy. We treat everyone with respect. We keep everything confidential. And there's a mutual trust that you have to have with each other. This is part of our cultures, right? You, African, Arab, Asian. I don't want to list them all again. But as diasporas, if you look at our cultures, we are deeply respectful of sacred spaces, right? Of honoring each other, and that's what my sessions, and that's what the Diaspora Academy is trying to create. So July is something I want to flag for you. It's already July. The 19th is in about 2.5 weeks. I want to flag that for you. The second thing I want to flag for you is the Diaspora Leadership Program is going to come back in October. So between now and October, you're going to have more of your life unfold. I want you to continue thinking about what does it mean to have this immigrant diaspora mentality, this feeling of belonging here and there, or maybe not belonging here, not belonging there at the same time, and feeling, as many of us do, under attack, vulnerable, at risk, afraid, and not sure what to do with all of that. That's one. The second thing is, even with all of that, you still have a power. You still have so many powers and gifts and talents and skills. And who is pouring into you for that? Who is helping you unpack that? You might have a great support system. You might have amazing friends and family. You might have mentors and advisors. And I love that for you. But many of us are lacking. We're lacking in that kind of guidance. So professional development, to me, personal development, personal growth, that's our job, I think, in the diaspora, is to really take care of ourselves and invest in ourselves so that we can give back to our people, right? The whole premise of diaspora leadership at the Diaspora Academy, the whole premise of how I approach leadership and impact is that it's servant leadership. It's of being of service to others. But that doesn't mean being of service to others at the expense of yourself. And you finding that balance when you want to organize and you want to help your community, or you want to activate and do advocacy or activism, or you want to set something right, doing that from a place of your spirit is the first thing. It's great, but you got to figure out how to do it effectively and well, because trauma, mental health, PTSD, all of these things, I'm not a psychologist, but I know through my lived experiences, through many other people's lived experiences, that the immigrant and diaspora journey is a very complex one, and carrying that as a part of your identity does have an impact on you, positive and not so positive. And being able to name it and manage it and heal is really important. I also want to thank all of the medical professionals that have reached out to me from the EDIS days, from EDIS, the DMs that I've gotten from the number of therapists, psychologists, social workers who are of Eritrean, Ethiopian, African, Arab descent. Amazing. And I do think there's something there around the nexus between leadership and your health and wellness, your mental health and wellness. Anyway, what I wanted to share with you is that this post-EDIS journey is an invitation for you to join me and stay focused on yourself. July, there's going to be an offering for you with this webinar. October, we're going to do it again with the Diaspora Leadership Program. We're going to do it again in February. So if you miss October, you can do February. But there might be some other things in between. But I want you to understand what this is rooted in. Now, if you loved EDIS or if you missed EDIS and you want to be a part of it, yes, it's going to be in May 2026. But I am actually building my team now. So if you're also interested in EDIS, you'll see some invitations to join the planning committee and the planning teams. We have a few different roles, a few different sort of main pillars of work. And that'll be in August. So think about how you want to use your time, talent, and treasure, and how you can use it with us. Let me just check the chats, because I have been quite bad about watching. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. Oh, goodness. I forgot to open the chats on one of the apps. Okay, fantastic. All right, great. So now it's important for me to start building a relationship with all of you who want to meet here, who want to connect. It's important for me to be more visible and accessible to you. You know, there was a time in my life where I was very, very visible and accessible pre-Instagram, pre-social. And I know that's like 10 years ago, pre-2015. And I had been so visible and accessible that I not only got burned out, I needed to recalibrate and focus on my life, because having been out in the community organizing, public sort of leading, building an organization without social media meant that I was doing a lot of in-person work. It also meant that I needed to refuel and rebuild, like just next chapter of life. And for about the last 7 years, since 2015, 2016, I was in the workforce. I wasn't out in public like this. You know, I really loved my work at UNICEF. I loved my work at Meta. I built the diaspora partnerships. I built all their diaspora framework there, like the diaspora policy team at Meta for Africa, Middle East, and Turkey, and UNICEF's diaspora partnerships. Phenomenal. But it meant that I couldn't be as close to you all as I wanted to be. And when I came back in 2023, you know, I was a mom. I became a mom. I'm so grateful. But I also had to learn working as a parent, working parenting, solo parenting. Yes, I am a solo parent. I'm proud of my journey, and I'm so proud of my daughter. But doing this as a working parent, solo, and starting your own business, it's a lot. And getting your sea legs and learning how to walk and chew gum at the same time. That's why this is now coming to you with more frequency, right? That's why I'm coming to you now. It is the right time. And it's always the right time to do what feels right, but it feels exceptionally right and needed now. So every Thursday, I'm going to sit with you at this time, at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And that's because there are people in California and there are people in Nairobi, Kenya, where I used to live. There are people on all ends of the earth that are going to dial in that I know are joining. So I'm trying to find the right time zone. If you don't get to join me live, you can watch this. I'll have the lives available. Maybe I'll just do a little bit, but I want you to remember that these are going to be regular conversations. I'll try my best to do them every Thursday, but life is life. Right now, we will do every Thursday in July. And so I want you to come to me with questions. You can DM me. I will try to do live Q&As, but you know what? It's hard to watch. If you're watching this on Instagram, can you please, if you have a question, drop it, because at least I can see those chats. Wow. Hello, everybody. Okay. Amazing. And I want you to remember that sometimes responding to the world as it is today, it does require you to organize. It does require you to get yourself together, and that can be borne by any feeling you have, the emotions, the anger, the fear, the anxiety. But I want you to also remember that your strength and your power is in really honoring yourself and honoring your community and your people. That means doing the internal work of discovering your motivations, understanding your fears, understanding your dreams, understanding where your North Star really is. You as a person, you, not the other people, not what other people tell you, not what you think you need to be. So that space for you is going to be so necessary, because this is a marathon. We are in the marathon of our lives, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. And so if you feel like you need guidance, or you want to do some work around understanding what motivates you, what doing good, what helping your people looks like, what helping you looks like, that's what this is. All right. I want to thank you guys for joining. It's been just over half an hour, which I'm so glad I did. But I will see you again next Thursday, Thursday, July 10 at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And every week I'm going to have kind of a different theme, a different angle around what's top of mind for me. I also have a podcast called That Second Gen Life with Semhar. So if you go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and you can just type in Semhar, to be honest. But the podcast is called That Second Gen Life with Semhar. I have episodes available for everyone, and then I have subscription-only episodes for subscribers. So you can subscribe to my podcast and hear more of what I'm saying that's a little more private. This is about as private as I've ever gotten on a live, and as private as I probably ever will be on a live, like on a public thing. Okay, there's a lot more for me to share. It's just in my subscription only space. And the podcast, the workshop is July 19. EDIS Summit is coming back again. If you want to be a part of the building, you can join us. We'll start doing that in August. And the Diaspora Leadership Program is in October. Okay, so this is giving you sort of what to expect for the rest of 2025 and for 2026. I need you to think about your energy and where you want to put it, and how we can support you if you're a member of a diaspora or you care about diaspora issues. All right? I hope you're all well. I hope you're keeping your strength and your mind right. I hope you're not doom scrolling too much. I hope you're not watching too much of the garbage that's out there, the misinformation. Just please take time with yourself and take time with your loved ones. And I can't wait to see you again. All right? So I will see you next Thursday. Thank you guys so much. Bye, everyone.